Thanks very much, Meghna. The air is thick with suspense as day one of Parliament's special session draws to a close. But one thing is absolutely clear. It's a historic move which is on the cards by the government. The cabinet met today evening in the Parliament Annex C, and sources indicated that in addition to the 8 bills listed, 2 more bills may be introduced after scrutiny by the Union Cabinet. But what bills? That, my friends, is the $1 million, or rather the 300 Lok Sabha seat question. While there is no official word yet, there is a huge buzz over what the historic decisions could be. One, the possibility that during the 5-day special session on the 20th, the government brings in a bill to provide reservation to other backward castes in the Lok Sabha. That is the OBC reservation bill. 25% of the total seats could be now reserved for OBCs. Currently, the reservation available is only for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in Lok Sabha. Scheduled castes enjoy a 15% reservation and 8% seats are reserved for the STs. The second possibility is that of the Women's Reservation Bill, and it's almost confirmed by sources to Times Now. And while nothing official is again yet announced by the government on whether the much debated legislation will be tabled this time around, merely the speculation has triggered a preemptive war for credit. Everyone from the Congress to the BRS to even the TMC is now saying this was originally our idea.
ये सोनिया गांधी जी वुमेन रिजर्वेशन बिल के लिए सदन में कितने बार सवाल किए हैं और उन्हीं की अगुवाई में राज्यसभा में पारित होते हुए भी ये आज तक साकार नहीं हो पाए। तो हमारी तरफ से फिर हम ये मांग करते हैं कि आपकी सरकार रहते हुए ये वुमेन रिजर्वेशन बिल को पारित किया जाए।
You didn't see our parliament CWC resolution. Actually, it is the brainchild of Indian National Congress and UPA. We given 50% of women reservation in local parliament, that is local bodies. So we are totally for women reservation. At least if they have any sincerity in their mind, they should pass the women reservation bill in this session. Our LOP told in the Rajya Sabha also this thing, same thing.
देखिए चर्चा हो रही है, मैं कहूँगा देर से हो रही है, मगर दुरुस्त हो रही है। इस चर्चा इसके वुमेन रिजर्वेशन बिल पे मेरा ख्याल है सबसे पहले हमारी नेता या नेत्री ममता बनर्जी ने ही आवाज उठाई थी।
Last 16 years, Congress party did not lift a little finger to do anything about this bill. So if you do not even care to mention this bill in your manifesto, that shows the kind of seriousness that you have towards this bill. But it's only when BRS started building up the pressure, when KCR Garu had written a letter again to Modi ji 2 days back. So it was by that pressure, forcibly, the Congress Working Committee had made a resolution. And now they're again saying that, you know, we are the ones who are fighting, etc.
Even as we speak, that cabinet meeting is underway. The Prime Minister is in a huddle with his core team, and a cloud of suspense still looms over what will be the legislative grenade as predicted by the Congress that may emerge. But the biggest hint that there might be an ace up the centre sleeve was given today morning by the Prime Minister himself.
ये सत्र छोटा है, लेकिन समय के हिसाब से ये बहुत बड़ा है। ऐतिहासिक निर्णयों का एक सत्र है। ये सत्र की एक विशेषता ये तो है कि आप 75 साल की यात्रा हम नए मुकाम से आरंभ हो रही है। मैं सभी आदरणीय सांसदों से आग्रह करता हूं कि छोटा सत्र है, ज्यादा से ज्यादा समय उनका मिले, उमंग और उत्साह के वातावरण में मिले। रोने धोने के लिए बहुत समय होता है, करते रहिए।
Okay, so a lot to discuss, a lot to unpack, and the best part is that we are all discussing and unpacking what officially nobody has even confirmed even now. Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, joining us along with political analyst Avnijesh Avasthi, Lokesh Jindal, leader of the Congress, Bishwajit Deba, national spokesperson of Trinamool Congress, Samajwadi Parties, Ghanshyam Tiwari, and Ravila Sridhar Reddy, senior leader of the BRS. I'll first start with you, Sanju Verma. Let's talk about the Women's Reservation Bill, because it's almost confirmed that it is on the the anvil. The Congress says we had it passed in the Rajya Sabha. We made the move. We almost got the whole thing done. Now, in your 9th year, you are picking it up. Why?
Padmaja, your audience needs to know a little bit of history, and it will take me only 30 seconds to unravel the brass tacks of the Women Reservation Bill. It was first introduced in the Lok Sabha way back in 1996 by the then Prime Minister H.D. Deve Gowda, but because there was no consensus amongst opposition parties, the Lok Sabha was dissolved and there was no outcome. Then the second time it was introduced by Atal Bihari Vajpayee in 1998, and mind you, despite the fact that in 1998 Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government for the first time ran for barely 13 months. And again, it was not brought to fruition because the Lok Sabha dissolved without any consensus amongst opposition parties. The most interesting point is this, that after 1996 and 1998, before the Congress even came into the picture, in 2002 and 2003, Atal Bihari Vajpayee again repeatedly introduced the Women Reservation Bill, but the Congress was hammer and tongs against it, though the Congress again introduced it in 2008 and 2010. And in 2010, when the Congress introduced it, I did my homework. It was not the BJP which was against it. The Congress passed it in the Rajya Sabha but could not pass it in the Lok Sabha because the Samajwadi Party and the RJD refused to endorse the Women Reservation Bill. That is why, while it was passed in the Rajya Sabha on the 9th of March 2010, there was no outcome once again because of fractious opposition members, particularly the likes of SP, Akhilesh Yadav, and RJD, Lalu/Tejaswi Yadav, who now rules the roost in terms of the RJD hierarchy. So my limited point is this. From 1996 till 2023, the Women Reservation Bill has traversed a long distance, and the difference between the erstwhile Congress, which passed it in Rajya Sabha in 2010, and now what is happening under the Modi government is that now there is a clamor for consensus. I'm not talking about who is going to take the credit. But be it a K.C. Venugopal, just give me 10 seconds more, please, Padmaja. Be it a K.C. Venugopal, be it a BRS, be it people from the Samajwadi Party, everybody says, ye to zarur pass hona chahiye. And during the Congress, the very people who are today supporting the bill, irrespective of having differences with Prime Minister Modi and BJP, said कि हमको Women Reservation Bill नहीं pass करना. I remember the Samajwadi Party and the RJD that time said that Women Reservation Bill should not be passed because the winnability factor of women candidates is very poor.
Okay, so here's my counter to you. Are you saying that this bill being brought in 2023, 6 months before election, has got nothing to do with the fact that in most states now women voters outnumber the male voters, and that 50% plus of women end up voting for the BJP? So it's entirely a coincidence that now in your 9th year you're bringing in the Women's Reservation Bill.
Padmaja, on a Monday I thought you'll be kinder to me. See, I'll be very honest with you. You know very well that both in our 2014 manifesto, I mean the BJP's manifesto, and in the BJP's 2019 manifesto, we clearly committed to the fact that Women Reservation Bill is something on our agenda and we want to bring it to fruition, unlike erstwhile incompetent successive Congress dispensations. Now to your limited point, and a very valid one at that, as to why 6 months or 9 months ahead of a Lok Sabha election, the limited point is देश में पद्मजा आप भी जानती हैं, मैं भी जानती हूँ, हर 3 महीने में election होती है. If elections are used as a yardstick, then you can, never give BJP credit for anything. Just let me end by saying, when we abrogated Article 370 and when we made instant triple talaq illegal, and both happened in August of 2019, I clearly remember the opposition saying, "अरे ये तो बीजेपी का एजेंडा है, तो बीजेपी कुछ भी करे, ये तो बीजेपी का पोलराइजिंग डिविजिव एजेंडा है, but learn to digest the fact that Women Reservation Bill is beyond politics." And the Harvard Kennedy Business School, just 10 seconds more, in 2010 came out with a very interesting study saying that not only India, even in mature developed economies like the US, women as a political group find themselves vulnerable and disempowered because while they vote in large numbers, They are not given adequate representation in large numbers because the political structure is inherently alpha male.
Okay, let me open this up now. Let me bring in the Congress, Samajwadi Party and the TMC. Let me start with you, Ghanshyam Tiwari. We've had a whole host of people taking credit today. The Congress is primary, then there's the Trinamool Congress. Is the Samajwadi Party also going to take credit? Because in November 2012, here is what Mulayam Singh Yadav ji said. बड़े घर की लड़कियां और महिलाओं को ही इससे फायदा मिलेगा, हमारे गांव की गरीब महिलाओं को नहीं. आकर्षक नहीं होती है ना, बस इतना ही कहूंगा, ज्यादा नहीं. आज आप भी बोलिए. We are all for Women's Reservation Bill.
Good evening, Padmaja. Very happy Ganesh Chaturthi to everyone. And let me address this upfront. I believe that if this government, even in this stealth mode, by keeping the nation in the dark, brings the Women Reservation Bill, in whichever format the government brings, it is a giant step for Indian democracy. It's a giant step for Indian electorate. Let the credit wars be, but the fact is that Sanju Verma, in a well-researched opening, gave the journey of this bill, and every party has participated in broadening the agenda of this bill. So I believe that the credit scoring is a conversation in politics, but the giant step is much bigger than that. And let us see that whether it is because of the pressure of upcoming election or India alliance or lack of their ability to perform on their own promises, or whether it is to truly believe in the women electorate and women leadership of the country. If this government takes this giant step, I think it is a victory for the government and a victory for the parliament and everyone who has participated from the Congress party to, I would say, Samajwadi Party, to broaden the agenda of Women Reservation Bill.
Hold on a second. I just want to, that was a lovely speech, and I'm so glad we are having a pleasant conversation on this, but I see how you just slipped in the end saying this has happened with the participation of all parties, including the Congress and the Samajwadi Party. No, sir. The Samajwadi Party actively blocked it in the Lok Sabha. This would have become a reality in 2010 itself, had your party not blocked it.
It is a fair criticism. I am saying that every party that has contributed to broaden the agenda of Women Reservation Bill, so that every girl out there, every woman out there has a chance, notwithstanding their social, economic and geographical advantages and disadvantages. I think it is important. It is important that in Parliament, parties stand true to their ideology, and Samajwadi Party has done a justice to their ideology when it says that a Women Reservation Bill must include Dalits, it must include the backwards, must include everyone who has been disadvantaged. And today we have numbers to say. And if the government is serious, it also has another master stroke. If it chooses to bring in the caste census, that will further elaborate and emphatically the significance of what Samajwadi Party has been saying.
Okay, in fact, since you are talking about the caste census, the other legislative grenade that could be up their sleeve is the OBC quota, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Avnijesh ji, at least it could be a sign of where the winds are blowing. Abhi Samajwadi Party 13 सालों में कितना बदल गए हैं कि क्लियरली औरतों ने कुछ तो सही किया होगा इस देश में कि हर कोई समझ रहा है कि भाई महिलाओं को खुश रखो, महिला वोटरों को खुश रखो.
पद्मजा, अभी आपने समाजवादी पार्टी के उस समय के जो अध्यक्ष थे मुलायम सिंह यादव, उनका स्टेटमेंट आपने सुनाया. न सिर्फ उनका, बल्कि कुछ और लोग भी थे जिन्होंने पार्लियामेंट में कुछ अजीबोगरीब स्टेटमेंट दिए थे. वो मैं आज यहाँ कहने वाला नहीं हूँ. शरद यादव भी उसमें से एक थे जिन्होंने वुमेन रिजर्वेशन बिल का बहुत पुरजोर विरोध किया और इसलिए वो पास भी नहीं हो पाया. बड़ी साफ सी बात है. पद्मजा, एक बात बड़ी साफ सी है, अगर इस सरकार के बारे में आप देखेंगे तो न सिर्फ वुमेन रिजर्वेशन बिल, संसद में महिला आरक्षण की बात नहीं है, विधानसभा में महिला आरक्षण की बात नहीं है. आप हर जगह देखिए जिस तरीके से महिलाओं को उनको नया उद्योग लगाने में, उनको बैंकों से लोन देने में, घर की चाबी देने में, सेना में कमीशन होने में, जिस तरीके से वुमेन की आधी आबादी को पूरे देश के विकास के साथ पुरजोर तरीके से जोड़ने की कोशिश की है, उसमें वुमेन रिजर्वेशन बिल एक और फेदर होगा उनके कैप में. तो पद्मजा, इसको आइसोलेशन में नहीं देखा जाना चाहिए, पहली बात. नंबर 2 बात, संजू वर्मा ने बड़े उसमें कहा कि दोनों मैनिफेस्टो में इनका घोषणा भी थी, इनके संकल्प पत्र में ये भी बात भी थी, वादा भी था कि ऐसा हम करेंगे. इसलिए बड़ी साफ सी बात है पद्मजा, इसको किसी भी राजनीति के तहत कि नेक्स्ट इलेक्शन से पहले आ रहा है, संजू ने सही कहा और हम सब लोग बार बार कहते हैं कि इसीलिए वन नेशन वन पोल की बात हुई कि किसी ना किसी समय तो कोई ना कोई चुनाव होता ही रहता है। तो इस समय इसको सिर्फ इलेक्शन से जोड़ने की बजाय, और सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात यह है, मैं एक बात फिर अंडरलाइन करके कहूंगा, कल से नए संसद भवन में सत्र शुरू होगा। गणेश चतुर्थी के दिन श्री गणेश होगा। जो लोग कह रहे थे कि हिंदू विरोधी हैं, गणेश चतुर्थी कर दिया, जरा उनसे भी पूछना चाहिए कि गणेश चतुर्थी, जो गणेश जी का नाम लेकर के जब किसी भी कार्य की शुरुआत की जाती है तो गणेश चतुर्थी के दिन नए संसद भवन में काम करने की शुरुआत हिंदू विरोधी है या हिंदू पक्ष की है?
ओके, शुभारंभ होगा, महिलाओं के साथ होगा, लक्ष्मी घर में आती है, सब खुश होते हैं। मिस्टर विश्वजीत देव, we are from a time right now. Avnijesh Awasthi spoke about Sharad Yadav ji, and with the greatest of respect to the late leader, he had even gone to the extent of saying that I will consume poison if this reservation bill is passed, because we do not want women with short hair, or parkati mahilaएं as he called them, to be brought inside parliament. And here we are today, where finally the bill is going to be brought and everyone is championing its cause. But why did it take all of this time? Why didn't it happen earlier?
Well, let me make it very clear. You see, regarding this particular bill, whether or not it will be discussed or whether or not it will be tabled in the House, that is irrelevant for us, because Mamata Banerjee has already made a reservation of 35% of the women in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha already by the TMC. It has already been done by the TMC. So it is very obvious, quite obvious, that we are going to support this bill, because we have already done it. We have not waited for BJP and Mr. Modi to introduce this particular bill. Now, regarding the bill in question, you see, the question is whether a bill, after being tabled in the House, whether the ruling party will allow proper discussion. Today also, you see, Mr. Derek O'Brien had not been allowed to speak inside the floor of the Rajya Sabha. His speech was cut down, his speech was censored to 10 minutes, and thereafter he was not even allowed to complete 10 minutes. This is the way each and every bill is being bulldozed in the parliament. He just wanted to say, give me back my parliament, give me back my India, and let there be an India where the Prime Minister will respect the martyrs, will pay tribute to the martyrs, and not attend functions in the BJP office. But he was not heard. His speech was censored. Is this what we expect in a democracy? They are talking about democracy.
Okay, respond, Sanju Verma. What West Bengal did yesterday, the BJP does today.
Discuss a particular bill.
You know, Padmaja, since specific allegations have been made about how BJP is anti-democratic, because that is what the essence of the TMC panelists' allegations were, I just need to remind him, and just 3 points I will make. Do you remember the Asansol riots of 2018? The governor then in West Bengal was K.N. Tripathi. And K.N. Tripathi was not allowed by Mamata Banerjee. I'm using the word allowed. The governor is supposed to be, and is actually the first citizen of the state. Mamata Banerjee barred him from entering Asansol. Point number one. Point number two. Do you remember 2021 post-poll violence? Who was the governor, of West Bengal?
I'll come back to you, Mr. Dev, for a response.
Please.
I'll come back to you, Mr. Dev. Yes.
Who was the governor of West Bengal in 2021 in the aftermath of the West Bengal post-poll violence? Mamata Banerjee barred Jagdeep Dhankar, who's now the Vice President of India, from visiting the violence-affected areas. And nothing has changed between 2018 and 2023. Today, who is the governor of West Bengal? C.V. Ananda Bose. And C.V. Ananda Bose was barred by Mamata Banerjee from visiting riot-affected areas recently in the aftermath of the Panchayat polls.
No, but that's not the point he's raising. The point he's raising is that gender justice has been the calling card of the TMC since earlier. You are just cottoning it onto it now. They brought in reservation for women much earlier at the state level.
You know, my limited answer to that is just this. I think the biggest justice that we've done to the cause of women empowerment. I'm not even talking of Nirmala Sitharaman, who was the defense minister and is now, one of the first full-fledged finance ministers and doing a stellar job. I'm talking of Draupadi Murmu, not only a woman, but a Santhali woman from one of the most backward regions, Keonjhar district of Odisha. How many people have even heard of Keonjhar district? We made her the president. And who was your candidate? TMC was supporting.
Respond to this, Mr. Deb, that representation of women has been incremental in the government, says Sanju Verma.
Well, let me tell you, let me remind her that what Mamata Banerjee thinks today, Mr. Modi thinks tomorrow. And already Mamata Banerjee has done this. Okay, now talking about the role of the governor in Bengal, Mr. C.V. Anand Bose, I would like to make it very clear that all the problems in Bengal at present are being created by the present governor of West Bengal. He is instigating the opposition. He is acting as a mouthpiece of BJP. This is not expected from the highest constitutional office of the state.
Okay, let's limit ourselves to what is happening in Parliament. Please, we'll examine this ongoing conflict between governor and government later. But now let me bring in the BRS and the Congress and the really interesting discussion.
Since she has raised this issue.
Okay, so you've made your point, you've rebutted it. Let me bring in the Congress and the BRS. Here comes the really interesting part. You know, Mr. Reddy, first you had your party leader, Ms. Kavita, raise it. Then suddenly the BJP is bringing in a bill. Then yesterday, what does Rahul Gandhi say in your state? That essentially the BRS is just a Bharatiya Janata Party relationship party. That is what you are. You are a B team of the BJP, as they say. Was Ms. Kavita laying the ground for the government to bring in the bill by writing letters to Sonia Gandhi, by attacking the Congress and saying, oh, they are against women? What do you say to that?
First, Congress party has nothing to criticize us in terms of development and welfare in our state. Hence, actually, they are making these kind of statements. In Telangana state, BJP says we have a relationship with Congress party. Congress says we have a tacit understanding with BJP. Since they are nowhere in the competition with us, they go on saying these kind of statements, make allegations which are baseless. Number one. Number two, we are sincere towards this Women Reservation Bill. BRS has been demanding this for a long time. And Honorable CM KCR has advocated this for many a times. And we are one of the very few states which are strictly implementing this 50% reservation for women, right from Panchayat Ward Member to Jilla Parishad Chairman in the local bodies. And secondly, now Kavita ji, a former member of parliament, now MLC, even did a protest in Delhi involving all the political parties who were wanting it. And a couple of days back, our Chief Minister wrote a letter to the Prime Minister of this country demanding to table the bill in the upcoming parliament, this special parliament session. We already have written letters to the 47 political parties also to support this particular Women Reservation Bill if central government tables it. So what more you wanted to? Basically here, it is for the BJP government to show or prove their sincerity now.
Okay.
Sanjay said the history. Now history is over now. Now what will you be doing in this 4 or 5 days? Are you going to table the bill or not? Is the question before the nation.
Okay. Lokesh Jindal on the... Just a second, before...
30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds more. 30 seconds more. I just want to tell our viewers, by the way, that the cabinet meeting has just gotten over. 30 seconds, yes.
Yeah. Though this is not, the particular subject is not linked to this discussion, it pains us every time and again Honorable Prime Minister of this country speaks against Telangana formation. Even today, on such a wonderful occasion of 75 years of journey of this parliament, he spewed Veeramanna's...
Okay, sir, I would request you to please stick to the Women's Reservation and the OBC bill, because then again we are going to go off on a tangent. I promise you we will come back and discuss that as well. Quickly, Lokesh Jindal, look on progressive issues, what great jugalbandi is happening. Everyone is on the same page, but the Congress, which sat on it for all of this time.
Padmaja, why are we forgetting that it was the Congress via 73rd and the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act introduced 1/3 reservation for women in the local bodies? It was the Congress which in 2009 came out with 112th Constitutional Amendment Bill, which gave a call for 50% reservation of women in local bodies. And subsequently in 2010, Congress had introduced the bill so as to introduce 1/3 reservation for women in the parliament. So this entire idea of women empowerment is something that is the brainchild of Congress. Sanju Verma over here spoke Congress ideology today. How can you forget it is Congress which, via Hindu Code Bill 1956, Hindu Succession Act 2005, it was Congress which, it was Indira Gandhi who came out with Indira Gandhi Matritva Sahayog Yojana. Even up till now, almost all women issues were championed by the Congress. Now you have read the wrong textbook, madam. If you look at the history, if you look at the overall tradition, it was the Jansangh which had always opposed Hindu Code Bill. It was against giving women rights with respect to divorce, inheritance.
Okay, we are not discussing the Hindu Code Bill, we're discussing the Women's Reservation Bill. Before Sanju Verma responds, I want to quickly go across to Pragya Kaushika and Shivani Sharma, both of whom are joining us live. Shivani, to you first, the meeting has ended. Any word yet from anyone about what was discussed? What's happening? Shivani.
Padmaja, the suspense continues. The meeting has ended and it was around 2-hour-long meeting that started after 6:30 here in the NXC of the Parliament, and still the speculations are on because we were expecting a meeting, briefing, but this is not happening. What we are learning from sources and Pragya, who's been giving the inputs from inside the cabinet meeting. So as of now, the speculation is it continues. There's no much information on what happened inside the meeting, but yes, certainly what we were learning from our sources is that there is preparation for tomorrow's historic decisions, which the Prime Minister was talking about today in the Parliament. And there will be a ceremony of transition from the old Parliament to the new Parliament. The whole itinerary has been shared on Times Now, where at 9:30 the photo session will begin, and from the old Parliament, the copy of the Constitution will be taken on foot by Prime Minister.
Shivani, I'll just put you on hold for a second. Pragya is also with us on the phone line. The Prime Minister's just left. Yes, Pragya, what information?
So the cabinet is over. Prime Minister has just left the Parliament, and also some of the ministers have already left. We are given to understand that there will be no briefing of this cabinet meeting. We are still awaiting more details, what has happened in the cabinet. We'll brief our audience after we get some of the information out. But it is a very significant, important meeting. This has happened today on the first day of special parliament session.
Okay.
Prime Minister has decided to hold this cabinet briefing on this day only. And we are hoping, and there are speculations that there could be a surprise element tomorrow. There could be a new bill which may mark a shift in the history of of the Parliament as well.
Okay, has to be something really big for everyone to keep their cards so close to the chest. Thanks very much, Pragya and Shivani. We'll of course keep our viewers updated on that. Yes, Sanju Verma wanted to respond.
Thank you, Padmaja. I want to make a quick point. First and foremost, to the BRS. BRS says, BJP is anti-women, anti-democratic. It's the same old trope, same old narrative. I find it hilarious now. I'm not even agitated. I want to ask the BRS spokesperson, without looking at Google, can you tell me who are the 2 women ministers in your Telangana cabinet? And I'm telling you 2. I'm sure you did not even know that out of 18 cabinet ministers of KCR government, only 2 are women ministers.
And we have Sabita Indra. I am not here to answer your question.
So tell me
you are super intellectual of this country.
Who are the 2?
Verma, we know. You are a super intellectual. You actually invented Google. You only have made Google. So don't unnecessarily talk about. Talk about your stand on the Women Reservation Bill. Don't teach people what we are supposed to know, what we are supposed to answer. This adamant behavior is not going to work out. Answer what is supposed to be answered now. Tell your standard. Tell your stand.
Okay, no. Well, to be fair, he did name the 2 ministers. But make your point.
Yes.
He named the 2 lady ministers. Yes.
Let me tell him. 2 out of 18. And there were 3, and they sacked the 3rd one very unceremoniously. Point number 1. Point number 2. In the last 19 years, the highest number of cabinet ministers yadi kahin hui hai. So that is under the aegis of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We have 11 cabinet ministers in a 78-member team of the Narendra Modi government. We are not like Congress. In 1974, now I'll come to Congress because I think BRS, given that it has only 9 members in the Parliament, I gave the BRS enough attention. Now let me come to the Congress party. I will answer what Lokesh said. Because BRS 9 सीटों के साथ तुमको जितनी attention मिलनी थी मिल चुकी. Now let me tell the Congress. Padmaja, I did not.
Okay. Please make your point. Yes.
Thank you. Now please keep quiet. Don't be so rattled. I know you're rattled. Now let me answer Lokesh, who's been waiting patiently for my rebuttal. You know, do you remember that famous slogan in 1974 of B.K. Barua? India is India, Indira is India. हम सबको लोग अंध भक्त मोदी भक्त बोलते हैं, but हम में से किसी ने, at least no sane-minded BJP person has ever said India is Modi and Modi is India, because we believe in inclusivity in more ways than one. While we do agree that Narendra Modi is a leader born once in a millennium, but that's besides the point. I want to ask the Congress just one more question, and I will be done with that. In the Congress Working Committee, there are 39 regular members, there are 32 permanent invitees, and there are 13 special invitees. Total number of members in Congress Working Committee, 84. Out of which they very proudly say, 15 women are, a part of CWC. Whereas if you look, actually at the brass tacks, you will realize that the most important bit is the 39 regular members.
Okay.
For the longest time in the Congress party's existence, give me 10 seconds. Priyanka Vadra and Sonia Gandhi and Ambika Soni were the only 3 members of the Congress Working Committee. And yadi Sonia Gandhi or Priyanka Vadra ko hata do because they are dynasty and family members of the private limited company called Congress. Then Ambika Soni was the only other outsider. It is only recently that Kumari Sailaja was included, which means Congress in its most important body had just one woman, Ambika Soni, for the longest time. और आप यहाँ बैठकर बीजेपी को भाषण दे रहे हो? भाई साहब कुछ पढ़ लिख कर आया करो डिबेट पर.
Okay, I'm completely out of time, but what I am extremely happy about that everyone seems to be on the same page when it comes to the one issue of greater representation for women. Let's hope it doesn't just stop at this bill. It also boils down to representation within their own parties, and that is why more and more women should continuously go out and vote, because ultimately that is the only way political parties will be forced to listen to your voice. Thanks very much, all gentlemen. Sanju Verma for joining. It looks like trouble in paradise for the BJP idea.